Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to the year. Today I'm going to talk to you about using mushrooms in your worm bin and how the fungal properties could have benefits to not only your worms but also to your castings. So let us get to it. You have to excuse this. Looked brand new last week and unfortunately it's been battered. I spilled some worm tea on it when I was doing some stuff the other day. I folded it in half and broke it. It's just wearing down. Obviously it's not lost, it's going to be shredded and used back in this bin eventually, or back in some bedding eventually, but for the meantime I'll just move that away. This bag also is getting used quite well. We're definitely getting our money's worth out of it. So just fold that up. Lovely jubbly. So I have gone through this bin. Obviously we were here last week. They were making their way through that pumpkin, which I'm guessing is completely gone now. These guys have been getting hungrier and hungrier since that pumpkin is gone. I would put worm chow down and the chow would generally be gone every 2.5 days. On the third day I would put down some more chow. This bin has had chow every day, so I put down some chow. The next day I come out, it's gone. So and it's usually gone by the morning, so I don't put it straight away. I leave it until the evening, feed them again at the same time as usual, come back in the morning and it's pretty much gone. And that's been really the case here. There are worms close to the surface. You can just see them moving around here. Look at these little fellas here. Beautiful worms. Try and get a focus on. Yeah, love that colour. So what I did do yesterday, the day before, was I put some, yesterday actually, I put some mushroom in here. It wasn't the tops of the mushrooms, but these are from some shimeji mushrooms, and it was just the root ball which I cut up, and I fed. There was maybe one small mushroom offcut that I didn't see. So they are close to this. I'm just going to break that down. So for those of you who use broken down wood chips or wood chip compost in your beddings, you probably won't have much of an issue because there'll be quite a lot of fungal matter within your bedding before you put your worms in, and that will continue to stay and remain within your bedding until your worms are done with it and turn it into compost. But for me, I use peat moss. And yes, the leaves would give fungal matter if I'd give them time to break down. Things like this would create fungal matter, but because it's breaking down within this bin, or it's getting eaten before it actually has time to break down in this bin, there's not much of a fungal property left behind. There's just not enough time. So I've been looking into using mushrooms, obviously it's fungus, and the mycelium from mushrooms, which is this here at the end, and how that benefits and if it can be dangerous. And there are not mixed feelings about it, but there is obviously when mycelium forms in a substrate, it becomes quite solid and can cause a semi-anaerobic environment. Obviously the mushrooms love that. They love to grow in that matter. However, because the worms eat the mycelium, there's not really a problem in here, and I'm not adding tons of mycelium at the same time. These are some enoki mushrooms. I usually use them in stir fries, or I dust them with corn flour and deep fry them, and it actually makes a believe it or not, we use it with some, I make seaweed seasoning, and I use it to create like a soft shell crab for vegan food or plant-based food. I know it sounds crazy, but actually it's really, really good, especially if you put them into tamakis, which are the hand rolls. Really super, super good. So before I start breaking that down and putting that in, I'm just going to give this bin a good airing, a fluffing, should I say. Look at these lovely worms. So I did something stupid the other day, the other night actually, after I had checked in my last video to talk about using worm tea in the bin. I came back and I decided to count the worms one by one. It was a tedious, look at that, that's beautiful. It was a tedious experience. You are a fat boy, I love it. But what I thought that I had 300 worms to begin with, I actually have 900, or the tally at the end was 904, and I'm sure I didn't even get to the, I'm sure I missed some because there was still some really, really small baby worms. How awesome is that? I love these little guys. I never thought I'd hear myself saying that, but yeah, they're so cool. Anywho, back to the bin. So these are great. I obviously, having gone through it, I did fluff it quite well. I was surprised at the number of worms I have, considering there were quite a lot of small ones. This is not now what I consider a small worm. I will try to see if I can find, I don't even consider that, it is a small worm, but I don't even consider that a small worm compared to what is actually in here. If I can find one while I'm doing this video, I will show you, but literally, there. Hold on now. Hold on now. You see this fella here? That is a tiny, tiny worm. I wish I had something to compare the size with. Okay, here is a pumpkin seed, and there's the worm. It's amazing, right? So yeah, I even counted those little guys. So anyway, there are, what I counted was 904 worms. I'm sure there are more than that in here. There are some really nice, beautiful sized worms in here, and there's just some really, really tiny ones. The moisture level is really good. Obviously, I gave it a good spray with the worm tea the other day, and it really liked that. The one thing now though is, as I now know how many worms are in this bin, I will be looking to separate it at my quickest convenience. Oh, there's a bit of that pumpkin. I noticed the other night when I was counting, I had a look inside this pumpkin and I saw some mites, but I don't see them anymore. Okay, there must be cocoons in this bin, because look at the size of this little worm that's on. That is tiny. Come on, bro. Are you telling me that this guy just hasn't this guy didn't just hatch like a day or two ago? There must be cocoons in here that I'm not seeing. I have no idea. Am I blind, or just have I not seen them in here because I wasn't looking? I didn't think it was possible. Or are they smaller than what I think they are and I'm not noticing? Because I thought I saw some cocoons, but then I thought maybe it's just some of the cracked chow. Like, is this a cocoon? I don't think so. I think that's a cocoon. Let me get rid of these guys here first. I honestly don't know what the hell I'm looking for. But yeah, so these guys are good. These guys are happy. And I am just going to, now that I've given them a little fluff, I'm just going to create a little feeding zone here. Sorry, my darlings. Right in the middle. Because I seem to like it in there when the food's in there. I'm sorry I've been moving you guys around. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to take these mushrooms and I'm probably going to just give them a little chop so it's easier. So I'll just put this in. Yummy. I'm hoping they'll go through this because the moisture content in these enoki mushrooms are quite high. If you use them in stir fry, sometimes they're a bit stringy. They're like little noodles. My wife doesn't like them particularly much, but if you fry them well, or if you if you put them in a stir fry quite early on and give them enough time to cook, they come out quite well. And these were just lost in the bottom of the drawer. We usually have maybe 8 or 9 different types of mushrooms in there at any one time, and so it does happen sometimes where we do misplace or we lose or forget to use some of our produce, not very often, and whatever is not used is being used in the compost at the moment, but I didn't want to put these in the compost because I do want some fungal matter in here, and I thought what a better way to do it than putting it into the worm bin. For the next set of bedding, I do think that I'm going to have some fungal matter in there because I've been prepping some bedding that's been sitting around now for quite some time. If you guys want to see that video, please click up here. It's just a short with 50 seconds or so of a video of how I put together my bedding, and then just leave it. Mine's probably going to be sitting for about a month or so before I actually get to use it. Maybe quicker now that I'm probably going to separate this in the next few days, but we'll come back to that. So and there you have it. I'm not going to drag this on too much. We've spoken quite a lot about it. I would like to hear your thoughts and your stories or your comments regarding using mushrooms in your bin if you've had experience doing so. If you have any research that maybe you think I would find interesting, please feel free to share. While we're talking about feeling free to do stuff, if you would be so kind to please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding that bell, you know what to do. Show your boy some love, and keep posted with our new videos coming soon. I put up a short today also of some of my vining cucumbers on the trellis, so please feel free to go and take a look at that, and I'll see you guys again in a few days. Sorry about that. Done. Be good, be safe, and speak to you soon.